Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on my channel on the color grading series. I know some of you have been waiting for quite some time for me to get back here, and I apologize for that. But it is how it is. I had a really crazy busy year, and summertime, autumn time have been full of beautiful projects. And since this is going to be recorded in my free time and I do want to bring quality education, and it's for free, I have to do that whenever I find the time and the right moment. And today we're back with two images that are shot by my friend and photographer Ava Pivot from Berlin. And she was so kind to give those two fashion images to me to show you guys how to bring two images that have been shot during the day in different locations, element and color-wise closer together, and optimize the images to be color graded for a fashion editorial series. And I want to show you how to first bring them closer together, and then secondly apply the color grade and make sure they are in a very nice color scheme and ready to be published in the editorial. So without further ado, let's jump into Photoshop and see how this is being pulled off. All right. Here we are in Photoshop, and on the left side you can see the first image that Ava has provided me with. It's a model shot on a train station, and on the right side it's the same model shot under a bridge with a car. And if we take a look at both of those, we can see on the left side there is quite a lot of color taking the attention from the model, meaning the train is quite bright and fully saturated, and I want to balance the colors and the light out to match the image on the right a little better, so that we have the common base for applying a nice color grade that ties the images closer together to become one family, color graded to be a fashion editorial. And so first things first, I'm going to go into the first image, hitting the F button for full screen. I'm going to create a new layer, call it red for retouch, and I'm going to choose the remove tool here and make sure that we adjust the size for like a decent brush size, in this case around 25-ish. And what I want to do is I want to take out a few of the distracting elements, like this thing here. It doesn't really add to the image, but it takes away some of the attention due to the color and the shape that is kind of catching my eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle around this area here, and if I let go, it will take care of the space in between. The other thing that I would love to take away is this element here, which is unclear what it is. It doesn't really add to the image. I'm just going to circle around it, like this one as well. And on the bottom left side, there are a few things that I want to take away, like the dark areas here. Just going to circle around. And you can see that the remove tool does a quite remarkable job in just taking care of these elements. Okay, so that's that. That is what I wanted to do with the cleanup work on this image. And the next, let me create a folder here. Hitting the button here, put this in, and I'm going to call this right because I love order in my files. Don't know about you, but this helps me to stay organized and maintain some sort of discipline in my work. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to balance the light. I'm going to call the folder balance light so that you know what we're doing here. I'm going to create a stamp. I have an action for that, but you can also do that with just a command shortcut, option, command, shift, and E on Mac. All right, I'm going to name this balance light, and I'm going to turn that into a smart object by holding down Control and convert to smart object. For those of you interested, I do use the Wacom on screen menu many times in my workflow, and I've set up everything here to have it right at hand so that I don't have to click all those shortcuts and move my hand around all the time. How to set that up? You can find an in-depth video on that in my channel. All right, that being said, I want to open the camera raw filter now. And what I want to do is I want to work with the light and shadow. What I want to do basically here is I want to bring down the highlights so that the sky gets a little more drama back. And I'm going to take down the whites a little bit. I'm going to open the shadows. So we apply a slight HDR adjustment, not too much, but if you want to look at the before and after, you can see that it's fading in a bit better in the background. So the sky is not that bright and taking so much attention from the model. We will adjust the model a little later, but that's that for the moment. The next thing that we want to do is we want to balance the colors. And there's two things that I want to balance. I'm going to show you. The color. Let's say balance color, sorry. And the first thing is that we want to change the color of the train. And so how do we do that? We will select a color range, and to do that we will just open that dialog color range. We will make sure that it says localized color clusters is activated, and then we can click here and we can see that it already takes quite a lot of the train color. The range, if we adjust this, you can see that it includes more of the same color area, color range. And if you hold down Shift, you can then click into the next areas and make sure that those are selected as well. So this one was a bit too much, so we can go back with Command Z. And the rest I will show you. We confirm that. We apply that mask to that layer. We can hit the Option key and hold down here. And what we want to do now first is we're going to take the lasso and we are going to move around the train fairly close. If you do have a Wacom board, it's much more easy than with a trackpad, believe me. And we're going to fill that with black. And the next thing we want to do is take the burn and dodge tools and make sure that we brighten the highlights just by painting over it. I want to make sure that it selects most of the color. And we want to take the shadows away with the burn tool here, just to have a nice clean selection. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to throw in a curve, put it to color mode, because I don't want to change the overall luminance. I just want to change the color. And how do we get to that nice green? First of all, let's make sure that we see both of the images again. And we're going to move this over here. And now let's go into the channels. So what happens if we take down red in the highlights, right? So we introduce some of the cyan, right? So we're going to put down some of the cyan here, but it will add up. The next thing that we want to do is to bring in some green in the dark areas. And we also want to bring in some blue to get a bit more into that direction. All right, now we are in a nice green tone, but what we need to do is we have to deal with the saturation. Therefore, we can choose many options. In this case, let's try a hue saturation layer and just reduce the saturation overall. Yes, I guess that is going into the right direction. We can use the lightness slider to bring the light a touch up. And then we can see what we did with the two adjustment layers. And I think that's a good starting point. Okay, let's hit F again to go back to the image. The next thing that I would like to deal with is first create a new group, call it clock, because I think that orange here doesn't really help the image as well. So what to do now? I'm going to throw in another hue saturation layer. Let's zoom in a little bit and check this grab tool here. So we activate this. This way we can have the color picker here, and we're just going to click here and pull to the left, right? So we can see that now the whole background changed because we don't have a mask. Looks nice too, but in this case we will fill it with black, and then we're going to take a brush, white color as a foreground color, 100% opacity, and we are going to just paint that correction in here very quickly. All right. So what happened? Just seeing that there is some yellow shining through, and we can take care of that if we just take the brush and brush over these areas. Maybe with this one it's a bit too much, so we can reduce the overall the overall opacity of the brush, and we are going to just brush over these areas to include the rest of the yellow parts that we want to include. Let's make sure that those lights stay intact, but the edges here, we can take care of that. Of course, you don't have to be that precise. In the end, it depends on how large the image is going to be shown, but let's assume it's going to be a bigger print, or it's going to get published in a magazine. And we want to put in that extra effort to make sure that we have a nice, compelling color grade. All right, just brushing over it, but you get the point, right? All right. Okay, so we have balanced the color as well. The next thing that I think we could do to match the color even more to the image on the right is, first, let's create a stamp. Let's select the subject and create a new group called Moto. Apply the mask, copy the group, name it background, and invert the mask with the Command I. What we can do now is we can throw in a curve into the model, take the hands and move up the brightness a touch, because I do want to have them pop out a little more. Now we can go to the background. Oops, we had a group already. I'm gonna take a curve, put it into the background. Or maybe, let's try first with a hue saturation layer. What I want to do is I want to desaturate a little bit of the yellow here to match that bridge over there a bit more. Like so. And it has a nice effect on the trees as well, but maybe I don't want as much. And maybe not the sky, but to do that we can take the black foreground color, set the brush to 100% and brush over these areas. Okay, and now we see, maybe let's put the brush back to like 30% opacity and bring it in at the trees a bit more, because I like when they are not that super green. Like so. Okay, and up here. And now we can play with the opacity of that layer and adjust it a bit more precise. I think this way they go quite well together. And I guess now looking at the before and after of this image, we have a good starting point to fine tune it with a little color grading. But before we do that, let's save that stage and go to this image, because we need to do some cleanup work as well here. In particular, I'm thinking about removing the car here. And I think that can be a great job for generative fill here in Photoshop. All right, so let's circle the first area that we want to target. It's this one. We just circle it, hit generative fill, and let Photoshop do the work. In this case, it will take away that area that is too bright, and as soon as it has finished thinking, it's thinking hard and long, actually. Let's wait for it to finish the task. Okay, and the next thing that I would like to remove is the light. Let's maybe start with the car up here. I'm going to make sure that we circle that car and we don't take away too much from the jacket. Like so. Maybe a little less here. And a little less from the jacket here, maybe even more. Okay. There's the tiny edge that we can take away. And we hit generative fill one more time. Just want to make it less prominent, that car there. Maybe it comes up with something nice that could be in the background. Let's see. Yes, I can live with that. And the other thing is like this license plate that is a bit distracting. I'm going to zoom in, make sure that we take care of that area here. That's a bit close to the edge, but maybe Photoshop can take it away. Yes, wonderful. And I'm going to switch to the remove tool, create a new layer. I'm going to take out that here. And also, I guess, this handle here. And let's take away that license plate too. And that little bump here. And how about we take care of the road a tiny little bit here so that it's not too distracting. This area here. All right, we will add some grain later on. That will make all the texture believable. Maybe this bright part down here. Maybe we can, yes, tone that down a little bit. Maybe also that one there. It depends on personal taste, but I think we should take away some of the distracting elements. The mirror, I think we should keep. It's an important part of the car. But if we put those into a group, call it red, we have done quite well in removing the distractions on that image. Let's put them again closer to each other to evaluate. Okay, now we're going back to the left one, and I want to apply some color grade to it. And this we will do with a curve. And we will call that grading. And what would potentially work well is making sure that we take down some of the red to bring in a little bit of the teal color. And also some green in to counter the orange, like so. But it might be a little too much. Maybe we can take down some of the blue, a little too much in the shadows and highlights. But what we can do now is we can double click that layer and we can play with the blend if sliders. And you can see that it takes away the effect from the lights and also from the shadows. And this is quite harsh transition, but we can alt click this and move those sliders to the right. And what this allows us now is that we have the color applied more in the midtones than in the very bright highlights and the very dark darks. I'm going to leave out the very bright whites, just a touch, tonal wise, and the very dark darks. And I'm going to open that to spread into the shadows and highlights. You can see now that it's not that harsh anymore. And I like that effect to counter the color of the jacket. But I think if we leave it at 100%, this is probably a bit too much. And we can also try to put it to color mode, not to change the luminosity values. But again, I want to take down the effect a touch and play with the opacity. So that way we can have it adjusted. Just the touch that we needed. Okay, let's copy that folder to the other image. Just hold down Shift key and pull the whole group up to the other image. And I think it does great here as well. So there's one other thing that we can and should do to have it a more, let's say, up-to-date color grade. We are going to create a new stamp and make a smart object out of it. And we're going to call it effects. And we're going to enter the camera raw filter again. And what we want to do now is we will go to effects and take away some of the clarity to make it softer, maybe around 30. And also in light, we will take away some of the contrast. So I want it to be pretty soft. See? It takes away quite a touch of the contrast. And now the other thing that we want to do is we add a film grain. I do that with patterns. There's a full video how to do that on my channel. I have a ton of grains that I created myself, and you can see how this works if you check my other videos. I'm going to take a rough corn, harsh grain, sorry, not corn. Corn is the German word, but in English it means something else. All right. And we're going to set this to overlay. And let's zoom in and see how that affects the image. And I think it gives it a very nice grain and this old school look that old school cinematic look that I was going for. Let's do the same on the other image. You can do it the same way, or if you do use a plugin that is called Retouching Toolkit, I believe, you can choose to update using stamp below, which is a fantastic thing that I use every day. You can just click it and it will update the smart object with everything that is below it. We only have to drag over the grain pattern here. And now let's put them close to each other and zoom in and see if we have a matching color scheme. And I think we do. Let's have a quick comparison, the before and after. Same here. And I think that's that. This is how I take two images from the same shot in different locations and make sure that we first align the elements and that we align the base colors and the lighting and everything that makes the images come a little closer together before then we can apply a color grade that ties a nice package of those images and make sure that they speak one language, one visual language, and they come together as the family as we bespoke. So I hope that you found a ton of value in this. I think it's something that you can try to apply to your images or to the images that you work with. And make sure to let me know in the comments if this is helpful to you, if that is something that you would like to explore more. And also, if you are up for a live session, just let me know in the comments and we can then pick a topic that suits the needs of the community so that we can maybe discuss your images. If that's something you would be interested in, we can maybe set up an hour together where we can then discuss the challenges that you have to explore what kind of content we can create in the upcoming videos. Okay, so if we don't see and hear each other before the end of the year, I wish you a fantastic holiday season, wonderful Christmas time with your loved ones, and a nice relaxed time of the year to wind down, reflect on the year, and make sure that you start fresh into 2025 with everything that is coming in the creative industries with all your projects. And I hope to see you next year, the latest. Wishing you nothing but the best, and thank you for being part of this community. Love goes out. Peace. I'm out.